Hi, it's me, girlfriend and boyfriend and they friends. All of them together combined have told you that I'm their favorite content creator. And we're going to talk a little bit, just a smidgen, about Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2, amazingly, crazily, insanely popular game that just blowing all the records, has some of the best communities. The way they interact with their fans is so great. Everyone loves them, except for literally right now. Because right now, if you check on the Steam page for Helldivers, you're going to see a lot of mixed reviews recently, which are going to be tending towards the negative end of things because they have now enforced a PlayStation account link that you have to use in order to play the game. For eventually, by June 4th, you will have to have a PlayStation account set up to play the game. Now, when I originally saw this, I was like, that seems just like a move to get people's information. And a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people don't want to have a PlayStation account because PlayStation, Sony doesn't have the best security track record. And so they don't want their shit exposed and they're playing it on PC. Totally fair. But other people are saying that, hey, you know, it was a requirement to eventually have a PlayStation account to link to it, especially since that was there since the beginning. And that's true. But for one reason or another, PlayStation did not enforce that until now. So a lot of people bought it. One person who I really want to focus on is Pirate Software and his take on it, because he's essentially talking about the reason why this is a bad thing is because there are people in different regions of the world that quite simply do not have access to a PSN network.
As of May 6th, all Helldivers 2 players on Steam will be required to connect their Steam account to a PlayStation Network account. Current players on Steam will start to see the mandatory login from May 30th and will be required to have linked a Steam and PlayStation Network account by June 4th. PlayStation Network accounts are free and easy to set up using this link. No, I will not be creating a PlayStation Network account. I have requested a refund for the game, and I have changed my review to negative. That is not happening. This is not a troll. This is directly from them. I refuse to do this. No, absolutely not. Not a little bit, not at all. Not even one more. Steam will not refund you. Don't give a shit. I'm still putting in a refund request. I don't care if Steam doesn't refund. I put in a refund request specifically because they are removing my access as a player unless I create a third-party login account. I will be refunding. Whether Steam says yes or not is up to Steam. This is unacceptable.
Whether it's because of, country restrictions or, take your pick, they don't have access to it. So even if they wanted to set up an account, they couldn't. And if they do set up an account, there's a chance they might get blitzed, they might get deleted. Or if they use the VPN and then their network detects they're using that, they might be in real actual trouble. And he also mentioned the fact that the game was kind of running fine without that aspect of it. Like, yeah, it's a Sony game, but it was running fine without needing to connect to the PSN. And I'm more so in that camp where, again, I understand that this is a Sony product, but if this was something that was originally implemented but didn't work for various reasons, so they held up on it, and you're still seeing massive, crazy success, and by instituting this now, you can theoretically cut off some people who are already consumers of yours, part of the Helldivers 2 community. I don't see that's a good idea. And even the director of Helldivers mentioned it, where he's like, it sucks that it happened how it happened, but I'm hoping as long as we're making good content that people will like our stuff. And some of the community managers were saying like, hey, this is all on Sony. This is Sony's fault. Sony's the one who did this, not us. And I would be remiss if I couldn't bring the parallel between what's happening here versus the shift up situation. And I'm bringing this to show you guys consistency. I am ideologically consistent. So when I do feel like there is a gross misstep from a developer or a publisher, I will call that out. In this instance, I do think this is Sony's fuck up. I don't know why they want to do this at this particular point. I know a lot of people are saying you can just make an account. I can make an account. I have a PlayStation account. That's not an issue for me, but it's not solely about me. It's about other people. If those people from the community who love Helldivers to the point where they've made it part of its success and they just want to be able to play the game, and Sony is saying they can't play it, then that sucks. Because if they can't set up a PlayStation account, what are they supposed to do? Are they going to issue a refund for people who they know cannot set up an account? Or are they going to allow a refund period for people who, in general, who want to refund the game? Like, who knows? But this is an actual misstep on the behalf of Sony. I can fully admit that here. The shit with Shift Up is taking claim for that. And it makes no sense for that to be Sony censorship when they have allowed, in that game, a bunch of other costumes are more lewd than the costumes people are freaking out about, and you can still do your upskirt camera angles and all that shit and the titty physics and what have you. Makes no sense there. But here, in this situation, when they admitted that, yeah, it was Sony was responsible for that, makes most sense. So they admitted it. They said Sony did it. And I also find it weird that people's headcanons that the reason why Shift Up didn't admit that Sony did it is because of their contract, but then Helldivers can say that Sony did it and they're fine. Like, doesn't make any sense, you guys. This is what I mean when I'm saying I'm consistent. I'm using the same logic here. This is Sony's fault. Now, ultimately, I do not want people to be harassing community managers. I don't want people to go on this huge rampage and make petitions, all that stuff too. The point of this video is just to bring awareness that if you are a Helldivers 2 fan on PC and you do not have a PlayStation account, you might not have access to the game much longer. And if you can't get the account, then I don't know what you can do. I personally think that, like I said, this is a bad move on Sony's end, because this does just feel like you just want people's information for like data and ad purposes. Because if it was super crucial for you to have that previously, months ago, then you would have had it months ago. You either would have not have launched Helldivers 2 on PC until that was ready to go, or you would have found some way around it. But I feel like it's not that important. And yet they're willing to kind of torpedo the goodwill, which has been a trend these last couple of days, huh? You had the Farm Folk people doing that with their game and them doing jiggle physics. You had Tarkov doing that with the $250/$150 or $75, depending if you bought the $150 edition of their DLC. Like, what's going on, man? This is my last video before I go on vacation for the week. But I mean, I didn't want to end on a weird note, but gaming's weird. And, well, fuck it. We're ending on a bad note. Private Division got hit pretty hard with layoffs. The continual layoffs of companies, that one's due to 2K, which I feel like makes no sense because they are worth billions and they made billions just off of GTA alone. So them wanting to cut back by cutting all people's jobs and shuttering studios, like the studio behind Rollerdrome, the Kerbal Space Program, those guys are gone. Studio was shut down. And those were really acclaimed games. Rollerdrome, I believe, won awards, and the Kerbal Space Program is super fucking popular, and yet that wasn't enough to stop them from getting the axe. But if you want to hear more of my thoughts about what's the overall state of the game industry, how bad it is, I have a video talking about how capitalism is one ruining games and not DEI or anything like that. And then you can watch another video, I don't know, somewhere here. It'll be the best for viewer option. Little peek behind the curtain. When you do the end screen, you can just choose specific videos or best for viewer. Let me know what video it chooses. Just leave a comment on this video saying, this is the video that I see that I'm definitely going to click on. And I'll see you guys in a week. I'm going to Mexico.